Hello guys, welcome back onto the Dutch couch. I've been looking at this Arne Slot and Liverpool. I think personally they're levels above Arsenal and Arteta in particular. I think Arteta, he's got a system, he sticks to it, there's no plan B. I'll never see him, he's not adaptable. He doesn't change how the game's going. His in-game management for me is quite poor. He's non-reactive. I mean, I look at Slot, he plays a system, but when I look at the Liverpool side, they look so free in possession. None of them look restricted, which is very important for me. You can play in a system and not be restricted. Liverpool are mastering that, and Arne Slot is mastering that. I mean, every player looks like he's got time on the ball, he's got options. The movement off the ball in that team is out of this world. Players rotating in different positions, feeling comfortable. Night and day, the difference is crazy. I mean, I'm seeing Arsenal, they're making 500-600 passes without any substance. They're going nowhere with it. It's all backwards and sideways. It's obsession with stats, in my opinion. They're stats obsessed. Rather than they're getting the ball in a position, got 3 or 4 runners off the ball, they'll play 3 or 4 sideways passes to get to the destination. Whereas I watch Liverpool, they'll have runners, they'll play a defence splitting past. So direct to get to that destination quicker. There's no need to mess around with the ball when you've got a ball on. It's ridiculous. For me, it just speaks of overcoaching for me. I think Arteta's overcoaching them, overcomplicating things when it doesn't need to be, just to be clever. It's this mini Pep clone thing. It's happening with so many coaches now. I mean, I'm looking at even Martin Odegaard, a player as technically brilliant as this kid. He looks predictable now. I'm watching these games, I'm watching these Arsenal games, and I'm talking to my kid while we're watching it, and I'm telling him what pass he's going to play next. If I can see it, Premier League footballers can see it. It's become so, it's like it's computerised, it's like it's programmed now. It's so obvious what's happening. Spice it up a bit, change it a bit. I mean, I'm looking at in-game management. Arne Slot, for me, is in-game management. I've done a video about Slot a while back, and I talked about him while I was at Feyenoord and why I thought Liverpool would win this title. This is a big reason why I had these up as title winners before they even started this season. Slot's in-game management is outstanding. That guy, he absolutely analyses every detail as that game's going on. He can see situations before they're even happening. He knows what subs to make as well. His substitutions are brilliant. He'll change his system during the game without people even realising it. The guy is so clever as a coach. I don't think Arteta's to that level. He seems to have his way, and he's stubborn with it. He doesn't adapt from it. It's going to be his stubbornness will be his downfall, in my opinion. I mean, I'm looking at the other week, Arsenal needed a goal. I think it was it last week? I think the cup game against Man United. Arsenal playing against 10, so you're thinking, go on then, go for it, you need a goal. Brings Jorginho on. And I'm thinking, what is this guy thinking? He's not going to grab you a goal or play a massively defence splitting pass. He's another backways sideways man. And I get it that you wanted to move the team around. You wanted to move Man United from... It was happening anyway. It was nothing different. I don't think there was any thought behind it. Ridiculous. The best teams manage a game. And they're clever. And Slot has that in abundance, mate. I'm telling you. I mean, Arsenal, even this is annoying watching this. Arsenal will be 2-0 down in a game. 1 or 2-0 down. 5 minutes to go. They're still taking 2 or 3 minutes to take a set piece. Get on with the game. If I look at Liverpool in the same situation, hell for leather, get the ball in play, let's get a goal back. Arsenal do not change their languid, lethargic manner at all. They just stick to that same pace. And that's going to cost them this season massively, because Liverpool have got it down to a T. They know exactly when to inject pace in the game, when to have a little breather. And that, for me, comes down to the manager. The difference in these two managers, for me, is absolutely massive. Absolutely gigantic. I mean, Arteta, for me, he keeps playing a defensive central midfielder, Thomas Partey. He keeps feeling the need to drop this guy into right back. I mean, how many games do you have to see before the man who makes the decision realises this doesn't work? It never works. It won't work. He's not suited to play there. It's just another case of trying to be clever. His positional play as a right fullback is terrible. He gets outrun. The left wingers skin him every time. And you can see the pocket of space behind him. He gets exposed every time. I can see it watching a game on the telly. So how can a manager who gets paid millions of pounds not see this? It's ridiculous. I mean, I'm looking at every single Liverpool player at the moment, right? They're playing the game. They look like they're playing without any fear, with full confidence. They're enjoying it. They're able to express themselves. None of them look restricted on the ball. When I look at Arsenal, they look like they're playing under constant pressure. They look stressed in possession. They look like they can't get rid of the ball quick enough. Lack of ideas. The difference between these two teams is more than just 11 players on the pitch. The environment there is massive as well. I think the environment at Liverpool must be so good because they all look like they're all getting on. They all know each other's game inside out. They're all happy. They're all happy. Importantly for me, they're more happy to rotate into different positions during that game and all feel comfortable with it. Arsenal look like ducks out of water at times when they're asked to play in different positions or switch during the game. They look lost. The thing is with Liverpool as well, a massive thing for me with Liverpool, the difference between them and Arsenal. Liverpool don't try and score the perfect goal. They don't need to play 600 passes to score a tap-in on the line. Arsenal are always trying to... This has been a big problem at Arsenal for years. In open play, they're trying to score the perfect goal. It's not going to happen. Liverpool players, you've got players at Liverpool who are more than happy to bang one from 20, 25 yards out. Szoboszlai, McAllister, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, for me, he's a massive difference between the two sides. Because I don't care how much deficiencies he has going backwards as a defender. He's so good going forward, so creative. He can play those diagonals like he's as good as anyone, in my opinion, in that position, attacking wise. He gives you so much in that team. Arsenal don't have a player like that at right back or a full back position. I think that's a massive difference between these two sides as well. The creative factor is night and day too. I'm sorry. Arsenal, I think they've even become easy to play against. The predictability of it. I mean, teams are so happy to let Arsenal have possession, and they'll just sit there. They'll put a low block in there and say to Arsenal, "Go on and play," because we know you're playing. I see it on the TV. I don't go there anymore. I see it on the TV. Arsenal playing this side, playing into the middle, going back out there, back to Odegaard, back this side. It's so easy to play against, and it's so obvious what you're trying to do. These teams are going to pick you off. And I mean, they're going to the City ground in a few weeks to play Forest. Mate, the way Forest play on the break, they're going to have a field day against this Arsenal team, especially if they're playing Partey right back. They'll absolutely... Alanga and Hudson-Odoi must be thinking, I can't wait for this game. And Chris Wood. On the break, they'll pick you off every time. And it's going to happen. I can see it a mile off. Also at Arsenal, I think there's a massive... There's a difference between the two. At Arsenal, I think there's a blame culture. When Arsenal lose, it's a VAR decision. It was the ref. In the cup game the other day against Newcastle, the EFL Cup, it was the ball. Fuck me. Not that you played with that ball in the previous rounds and scored a hatful of goals, but in that particular game, the ball let us down. That was the reason we lost. We couldn't get used to the ball. Maybe take a bit of responsibility. Arteta as a coach and the players as a collective, and say, listen, do you know what? We probably weren't good enough. Simple as that. You got beat by a better team on the night when Newcastle came to town. You were wasteful. Newcastle were clinical. You lost 2-0, and you're basically going out the cup. It's your own fault. Take it on the chin. When I see Arne Slot after games and everything's not gone his way, I sense it differently from Arne Slot. Like I said before, I'm quite knowledgeable about Arne Slot from his final days with the Dutch football and what have you, AZ. He seems to just take it on the chin. It's sort of, yeah, it didn't happen for us today, we'll move on. It's not always, it was the ref. He certainly wouldn't use the fucking ball excuse, would he? That's pathetic. And I think that sort of stuff's rubbing off on players as well. It's about your environment. If your manager is constantly blaming everybody else, where's your self-critique? Where do you look at yourself and say, I could have done something better there? Because what your manager's saying, you're going to stick by it because you're thinking, oh, it's their fault we lost. It's bollocks. It's bullshit. It's not like that. It shouldn't be like that. It's professional football. You get paid enough. You train enough. Sort yourself out. I mean, I'm looking at, Arsenal have got one of the best central defensive midfielders in the world, in my opinion, Declan Rice. He's trying to play him as an 8. And as good as Declan Rice is, personally, I think he's so good as a 6. When I watched him even before, because I used to take my daughter to West Ham, right? She supports West Ham. I used to watch Declan Rice in that 6 position. That guy is so good there. He dictates the game without even being in possession. He dictates the pace of the game. He's that good there. I think Arsenal are absolutely missing a trick playing him there, in front of those defenders. I don't know if it's a forcing to get Thomas Partey in the team somewhere, but you play Declan Rice in there, you're sorted. I don't think he's ever going to be the Lampard type to score 20 goals a season. I don't think that's his game. I don't think it comes natural to him. Don't try and force it. I know Rice has come out and said something about Arteta's taught me a whole different side to the game. When I watch him, he's playing well, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I feel like he's playing like he's confused. Like he's trying to force himself into the role as well, to try and be a different sort of player. I think if you're that brilliant in a position, dictate the game from there. I'll have him as a 6 all day long. I think he's that good. I mean, and I look at Gravenberch on the other side of the coin. He's playing in that sort of role of revelation. Absolute revelation, that kid. He's brilliant. I love him. The thing is with him, the difference with him to Partey, massive difference. Partey's static. He sits in there. He's not as mobile. Gravenberch will sit there, but he'll get forward. He's everywhere. You watch him on the pitch. He's everywhere. He's like having 3 players on that pitch. He's so athletic. He's so dominant. He's also got an outball. He's creative. He's got everything to his game for me. I think he suits that Liverpool team perfectly. And you put him with McAllister as Szoboszlai as well. Different level to Arsenal's midfield, in my opinion. On all counts, it's brilliant. And Arteta, for me, personally, I believe he's become totally obsessed with stats. And I think the obsession with stats, and the obsession particularly with the set pieces, I get that you want to be successful at set pieces, and they are brilliant at the corners and whatever, but people are going to cotton on to that now, and they're already starting to cotton on to it. I think his obsession with that has absolutely nullified half of Arsenal's creative play. They don't seem to be, they're not tippy-tappy like they was. They don't seem to be half as creative now. They seem to be concentrating more on that side. Obviously, they're going for more. Arsenal, they're usually, the later Wenger years in particular, they had little small, tactical, technically brilliant, quick, shifty players. Now they seem to be going for the 6-foot plus players that are decent, but they're using the set piece as a massive part of their Arsenal, excuse the pun, of their tactic. I don't think it's sustainable. I think there's teams in this league with much more creativity than Arsenal who are a lot lower down the table. I don't think that's going to be sustainable to Arsenal. It's not long term, it's not going to happen. It's not going to work for you. You're not going to win titles like that. Obviously, people are going to say the obvious one is a centre forward. I think the problems at Arsenal are massively different than that. More, massively bigger. You look at that Liverpool's attacking players, those front 5 players they've got, every single one of those players walks into Arsenal's team. That shows me and everyone else the gulf between these two squads, in my opinion. I mean, Núñez on the bench, he would walk in Arsenal's team. Be the first striker on the fucking team sheet. That's the difference. It's madness, mate. Absolute madness. I mean, with Arsenal, you don't get enough midfield players. If you're going to play not going to play a centre forward, you need midfield players running in behind. Arsenal don't have enough of that. Marino's not going to do that, certainly. Odegaard's not going to do that, running in behind. This is why he's trying to force Ricey into it, and it's not his natural game. So who's going to do it from the central areas? Nobody. So when you're forcing Saka and Trossard or Martinelli in, they miss Saka massively. But I would say Liverpool, I can see Liverpool winning all 4 this season. I think they're that good. And I think, in particular, this manager is that good. I've said it on a video before. Arne Slot will win the league for Liverpool. I still believe that. I think this guy, even if they have a wobble, I think this guy will settle down, will totally settle down the camp. His mentality, I think he's just a born winner. His mentality monster, in my opinion. And I think Arteta's a little bit the other way. I think if Arteta don't get his own way, throws his toys out, I think Slot's much more calm and collected. And it rubs off on the players. You're a product of your environment, right? But yeah, we'll see how this goes. I mean, but for me, final word, Arne Slot as a coach is leagues above Mikel Arteta in every sense of the word. And same with the teams. I think Liverpool are on an absolutely different level to Arsenal. You only had to see yesterday's game. They shot after shot. They created about, I think about 30, I think they had nearly 30 shots or whatever yesterday at Brentford. Last couple of minutes, I knew what was coming. You knew in the end they would keep battering at the door. Difference the other week when Arsenal played Brighton was massive, because I watched that game. It was 1-1. Arsenal desperately needed a winner. Didn't see anything different. Just kept plugging away playing the same balls. Brighton read them like a book. It was so obvious what they was doing. Management, totally different, adaptable. Yeah, different level, said it again. But yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good one.